Did you know that nearly 25% of Google Ads budget is wasted? Today, we're going to be talking about how to troubleshoot your Google Ads account to reduce budget waste. Erno, can you quickly introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, thanks, Harry. So I'm Erno Horváth from Optimum Click, and I've been managing PPC campaigns for about 17 years. That's
Cool,
such.
cool. So let's start with the most important question. From your experience of working with clients across different industry, home improvement, e-commerce, all these clients, what are the common reasons why you see them wasting their Google Ads budgets?
I would start with two kind of like non-traditional budget wastes. So one is giving up too early, because if you give up too early, like a few weeks of trying Google Ads, or even after a month of trying Google Ads, then basically that whole budget is just being wasted. So if you start Google Ads, then give it at least 2-3 months to work. That's my recommendation. So this is kind of like a non-traditional way to waste Google budget. And also the other one is listening to Google Ads rep. And some listeners might be shocked here, but on social media and everywhere, you kind of like find the reassurance that the Google Ads rep who calls you about opportunities in your account are actually a sales rep to Google. So their job is not to make you more money, their job is to make more money to Google. And
Interesting.
sometimes these are not aligned with not our goals. I've seen, and one of my client actually just had a phone call with the Google rep. He suggested a few changes in the account. And the client just, well, yeah, he, called from Google, so might, know something that Erno doesn't know.
Hmm.
Made the changes, and yeah, campaigns went into pretty much south. So it took 2-3 weeks to kind of like rebalance everything back.
Interesting, interesting. So what you're saying, and I've seen this similar thing that you mentioned, is all over LinkedIn. And for me, it's a red flag when a client is saying they're speaking to Google rep. What we're saying here is that Google is not bad, but the rep are salespeople. They're not actually experts. They're just trying to sell, trying to make you spend more money. So for you to avoid wasting your Google Ads budget, we would recommend talking to actual experts that are doing Google Ads optimization to help you audit your account. Even the Google Ads rep, you and I know that they will have like hundreds of clients that they're talking to. So they won't even have that specific solution for you. It's just going to be generic solution. So can you then explain in more detail the traditional ones? In previous
Yeah,
episode,
yeah.
you've talked about search partners, you've talked about keywords, you talk about different things. Can you just give us a list of things at the top level that business owners should be thinking about when they're trying to reduce Google Ad budget waste?
Yeah, so the very common ones is actually the search partner / display network. So when you create a new campaign, by default, there are a lot of settings on. And obviously those settings are on to reach more customers, but unfortunately most of the setting, what it does itself is just broaden your targeting way too much than your original one, and in the meantime you target people that you shouldn't have. So this is very, very common. So when you start a search campaign, just make sure you are only targeting the Google search network, not the display and not the search partner network. The true broad keyword targeting is I would say the next topic we can talk about. So Google is about relevancy, so you need to be relevant. Your keyword targeting needs to be relevant. Usually that means 2-3 word long phrases. Is that what you should aim for? Also, the location targeting is really important, because the default is that you target people in the location and you target people interested in the location, so not actually within your target location, and that sometimes generates traffic outside of even your country. That's obviously not what you want it to do. And also, I would say poor data management on the conversion tracking side. So you are not focusing enough into what matters your business. So for example, tracking conversions as every visitor who visits your page from the Google Ads campaigns, or just tracking too many different points that nearly all the visitors or nearly every other visitor triggers a conversion. And we are talking about Google Ads, but it's a really crucial part that your landing page, the offer on the landing page is aligned to what your ad's about, the keywords that you are targeting. So if you are targeting roofing keywords and you bring the visitors to a different service page or your main page, that's probably not going to work. And also, I've seen in many times that people just start making too many changes too frequently. So nowadays, Google's using AI and such, and it also tries to understand your targeting. And if you keep making too many changes too frequently, you just end up confusing the AI and giving bad signals to
Cool.
Google.
So what you've highlighted here, you mentioned about the landing page, that is important. So as a business owner, if you're listening to this episode, make sure that your landing page offer is really good. Otherwise, you're wasting money. Avoid making a lot of mistakes, a lot of changes. Sorry, avoid making a lot of changes on your Google Ads. And I've seen recently, I was looking at a Google Ads campaign and the targeting was just a whole country. So, one thing that I've seen over the years is you need to be specific about your targeting, and that includes excluding certain locations, not just target the whole country, because sometimes you find some regions would not even purchase your product. And if you know, due to logistic and even shipping issues, that you can't really sell to some locations, you need to make sure that you have a proper think about how you target your keywords as well as location. In terms of when a new client comes to you and like, okay, Erno, we have a Google Ads account and we think, they just say we think it's wasting budget. How do you kind of tell that, okay, by just looking at the account, how can you tell that, okay, is this account actually wasting budget if the client thinks it's wasting budget and they want you to do a Google Ads audit?
Yeah, well, usually we find about 20% wastage in every account we audit. These are what I mentioned before, usually this is where we found issues. So keyword targeting, location targeting, age group, audience targeting. So when we audit an account, we are checking these most common traps, because this is where you can actually do very, very quick fixes. So for example, it's just a toggle. You just switch off the display network, you just switch off the search partner network, you just switch to a location targeting which is more precise. So with just technically a few clicks, you can improve your campaign's performance by 10%. And obviously, if you're going deeper and deeper, you can uncover more wastage. I would say if you do it on your own, just start segmenting the data. Start segmenting your data in Google Ads. There are a lot of segmentation based on days, hours, location, demographics. So even if you just check the demographics data, even if you just check the location data, there are usually patterns. There are usually patterns that, hey, this location is proven to not be as good as the other one. So you can suppress it a little bit, or even exclude it and try to focus on the location that works for your business. And I think many times we just kind of like using our common sense when auditing the account, like you usually not running the phone number when no one is there to pick up the phone for your business, or you are not running services that you don't have, hoping that, well, the client might convert. So if someone is typing emergency dentist to Google, usually there is a reason. So a kind of like non-emergency ad won't really be profitable in this case.
Cool.
The one last thing is the change history. So so many people don't know that there is a change history in your Google Ads account. So it's kind of like on the bottom of the left. So so you can see what happened in your Google Ads account. So if you're paying for someone, a freelancer or a company, and they haven't touched your account in like a month, then usually it's a problem. So it's very, very rare that an account doesn't need to be touched in at least every other week or so.
So yeah, thank you very much, Eno. So what Eno is saying here is if you're paying a freelancer and they're just bamboozling you and they're charging you monthly, and if you actually want to know if they're working, just take your time as a business owner or an e-commerce store owner to go into the change history tab and just see the changes that have been made. But there's a problem, Eno. We see business owners complain that, oh, not complain, but they think my competitors might be clicking on my Google ads to waste my money. So in that situation, people are like thinking, are the clicks coming to the through Google ads, are they relevant? And some of them think, okay, are they robots? Is people are just all this kind of thinking in terms of what exactly can they do to prevent competitors or someone that is not really ready to buy to click on the Google ads and give irrelevant clicks. So in your experience in working with clients over the years, what exactly is irrelevant click and how can you prevent that from wasting Google ads budget?
So there are two terminology here, and so there is irrelevant clicks and there is invalid clicks.
Okay.
So let's be a little bit clear. So irrelevant clicks are usually low intent keywords, bad targeting. It's basically means that you set something within Google Ads that is not right. And that's why you are reaching out the wrong customers with the wrong message, etc., etc. So these are the irrelevant clicks. It lands on you if those are coming. And then there are the invalid clicks, which are what you mentioned in your questions. So these are the clicks when your competitors are deliberately clicking multiple times on your ad in a day, when bots clicking on your ad, or when bad actors, whatever reason, click on your ads. So Google has a quite sophisticated method to filter out those. Obviously, it's not 100%. So unfortunately, some invalid clicks are slipping through the system. Sometimes it's higher, sometimes it's lower. Usually there are methods how you can decrease those to happen, but I can talk about it for an hour or so. So don't want to go too deep down in this rabbit hole, to be honest. But there was a story when, well, a couple of years ago, a UK business, we managed ads for that UK business, and I did a segmentation for the locations, and I checked that, okay, well, which is area in the UK is converting worse than the other, and there was a city somewhere middle of nowhere, basically, where it's a quite high interest rate from that city, but there is not too many conversions as far as I can see. So it's obviously presented to the client and said, yeah, well, one of our competitor is actually in that city. So there is a way to unfortunately to click on your competitors' ads, and Google is not filtering that out. So you need to be cautious with that. Google, so by default, Google filters out the second click within 24 hours from the same IP address. So that's kind of like their way of filtering, but it's pretty easy to bypass that, to be honest. So yeah, that happens, unfortunately.
Yeah. So unfortunately, your competitors can click on your Google ads, but there are ways around it, as there are ways around it mentioned. So in terms of the keyword, we know Google is changing the match types to be a bit vague. Like we're not going to go into that details, but there is importance in terms of the keywords that you don't want to appear for. In your experience, how can you use those keywords that is not getting conversions at all how can you avoid that wasting your Google Ads budget? Like I mentioned earlier on, when you have irrelevant clicks, those people don't have the
Yeah.
intention to buy. How
Yes.
do
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
filter out those irrelevant keywords from wasting your Google Ads budget?
Yeah, so there is a way, they call it negative keywords. So basically, when you target something, kind of like it's a positive keyword, it says this is what you want to target, and the negative keywords is well, if this keyword or search term appears in the in what Google types, what a user types into Google, then I don't want to be there. So for example, when someone types in, law firms in Austin, you obviously want to target that. But when someone types in law firms in Austin that hire, well, you don't want to be there unless you are a law firm that is hiring right now. But there are certain terms usually related to employment, usually relating to someone is looking for already bought from someone and looking for some question, or they already been through something and they are just looking for some answers. So for example, if you're a laser eye clinic and someone is searching for laser eye surgery, it's obviously a really good term to target for you. But if someone is looking for, like, itching eye after laser eye surgery, you shouldn't be target those. So there are 3 layers of negative targeting what Google let you to do. There is the broad, which basically blocks everything if that word or both words are in. There is phrase, which is if that sequence is there in the search term, Google will block it. And the most restrictive one is the negative, is a negative exclusion. It only kind of like excludes that one term only. So
Yeah.
you need to be careful what to use and when.
Yeah. So what Erno is saying here is you need to identify some important keywords that you know is absolutely not relevant. Like he mentioned employment. So like the word employment or hire or recruitment, those type of things, you don't want to appear for those, except if you're recruitment or an employment agency, that's your niche, or you hire contractors, anything of that sort. But if that's not your niche, you need to identify some keywords that are broad match that you know, irrespective of where that keyword appears in the sequence, anybody that puts that keyword in is not really going to buy from you. It's going to be an irrelevant click. So you want to make sure you add that to your negative keyword list and block that at a campaign level, right?
There are ways. So there are multiple ways. Usually account or campaign level. Nowadays, I wouldn't really recommend to do it on an ad group level. It used to work 10, 6, 7 years ago, but nowadays with the, as you mentioned, and or loosened targeting, you just cannot be that specific, and you shouldn't be that specific anymore. So a content campaign level negatives are what's recommended.
Cool. So we've talked a lot about conversions because that's the main reason why businesses are online. They want to get conversion. And this has been an issue. How important is conversion tracking, and how can you make sure that you set it up properly? Because we know if your conversion tracking is not set up properly, the conversion that you think you're getting is actually not converting, and then you're wasting money. So how do you help your clients to make sure that conversion tracking is set up properly?
So basically, it's crucial to have the conversion tracking set up, and it should be aligned with your business goals. So although you need to be aware that there is no 100% attribution, so unfortunately there will be some conversions you won't be able to track, and you don't know if it's come from your Google Ads, or it's come from newspaper, or it's come from radio. So it's a bit blurry, but most of it can be cleared, and most of it can be assigned to the real source of the traffic, or at least the multiple stages of the buying journey can be identified and can be attributed to the relevant channel. So Google nowadays especially is heavily relying on it, and also it's starting to take away from you many levers. So they are opening up the keyword match types. So even if you want to be really specific, that's not too specific anymore. And the way of kind of like combating against it, and the way of letting Google know which is your better traffic, which is better for your business, is the conversion tracking. So it's really crucial that it's aligned with your business goal, and it's accurate
Cool.
as much as you can.
Yeah. So we know you can waste a lot of budgets on Google Ads from the platform perspective if you don't optimize it properly, and you're getting a lot of invalid or irrelevant clicks. Your keyword exclusion and negative keyword is not done properly. Everything that's on Google. Let's now go to the website, where, because Google is like a relay race, it takes the baton and then passes it over to the website. So why does website landing page contribute to Google Ads budget waste? Some people don't even pay attention to the landing page. How can that result in wasting Google Ads budget?
Oh, well, there are a lot of ways. The landing page, cannot be good enough, and it's not doing its purpose. I think one of the most important thing nowadays is mobile friendliness and speed, tight speed. So people getting less and less patient, and they want the information as soon as possible. So if your website is loading within 10-15 seconds, even though you paid like $5, $20, $30, whatever amount of the click, probably they just go back before even seeing who you are. So, and at the same time, a large portion of the traffic is on mobile, so your website and your landing page should be optimized towards mobile. There are some exemptions, like very B2B businesses, or some B2B SaaS, where we saw that still majority of the traffic is coming from desktop devices. But for other type of businesses, especially B2C type of businesses, most of the traffic will come from the mobile device. So you need to be sure that your page is good and fast there. Also, bad user experience on the landing page, lack of information on the landing page. So you say something within your ad, but that doesn't resemble on the landing page. I've seen it many times. So for example, you have a promotion, yeah, great, okay, coupon code, whatever, and then you arrive to the page, and okay, well, where's the coupon code? So people either need to go back to Google, and that's, by the way, a really bad thing, because Google also monitors that who return how fast from the click. So if they see that there is a huge return, then your quality score will drop, and you start getting the clicks for a higher price, but also it disrupts the whole journey. So lack of information, not enough images, not enough description about your product, about your services, and also I would say lack of social proof on the landing page. All those, well, obviously this is your area's expertise, the landing pages and the CRO, but what I see from the Google Ads perspective is it's really easy to break an otherwise good campaign with a bad landing page and make the whole Google Ads account to waste budget.
Yeah, I totally agree. From a CRO standpoint, as a business owner, you need to be careful with the social proof and customer review, how do you say it, user generated content that you're getting, because there's always the temptation, if you fall into the wrong hands when it comes to agencies, they will manufacture user-generated content and the social proof. They'll try and game it. People will see through that. And then when you have social proof on your landing page as well, you don't want to have too much links. You don't want people to start clicking and then going to the review website. You just want that social proof to keep people on your landing page. So in general, we know that click-through rates, very high click-through rates on Google Ads is a good thing. But if people are now getting low conversions, why do some Google Ads have high click-through rates and low conversions? Can you talk us through, from working with clients, what is causing this in your experience?
Yeah, so for me, that means that the Google Ads account set up right, the keyword they are targeting, search term they are targeting is right, the ad text is right, because obviously people think that, well, this is they found what they're looking for, but when they click and there is no conversion or no action on the landing page, for me that means it's it's a landing page issue. It's not a Google Ads issue. Either the offer is weak or they are not finding the relevant information on the landing page, etc., etc. So I always say that about half of the success of Google Ads campaign falls outside of the Google Ads interface, and this is what exactly I mean, because high CTR, people get excited when they click on your ad and then, oh well, yeah, I couldn't find the information, the offer is not enticing enough, I'm unsure if this product will fulfill my needs, I'm not seeing enough guarantee about this product, not seeing a social proof about this product, so they
Yeah.
just go back to Google.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, because sometimes in Google Ads, the Google Ads optimization overpromise and then the landing page under delivers, and there is that disconnect. And that's why I always recommend CRO, conversion rate optimization, working closely with the Google Ads team, or even hiring an agency like yours that has landing page and CRO embedded within the Google Ads. So in terms of some people manage Google Ads in a set it and forget it way. How do you know if your Google ad is being wasted due to negligence from your Google Ads agency or even your in-house Google Ads agency? And this question is important because I recently spoke to a business owner that just like, oh, our Google Ads is doing very, very well. We don't have to touch it for the next few months. What do you say to this type of people?
Okay, so well, it's very rare, to be honest, that the Google Ads account doesn't need any touch for like months. So what I usually check is, I mentioned before, the change history. So the change history tells at least how many times someone touched your account. Also, not every change, I would say, is a meaningful change. So just because someone touched your account 500 times in a month, that doesn't mean they actually changed something meaningful. Because I was seen in some accounts that, yeah, they are making some changes in like bidding or ROAS 5-10%, and that's it. So no other structural changes for months, just slight adjustments. There was one time when, and I still remember this one, when I reviewed an account and someone managed it only using a mobile device. So because when you check the change history, you see that which kind of like app they used when making the change history. So that one guy, actually he was an in-house guy, basically just used their mobile phone to making some changes, and I can tell like 110% sure that you are just don't have the same amount of data on a mobile device. You don't have the same amount of levers to pull. You don't have the same amount of reporting on a mobile device. So That's definitely a really, really huge flag for me, that someone just making changes from a mobile device on a Google Ads, the Google. And there are some other glaring things like not using any promotions, for example. So, most businesses have some promotion. Some have like monthly promotions we work with. Some has just Mother's Day, Father's Day, whatever promotion. But if you are not seeing these promotions reflected in the account, I think that's a huge miss. And as you mentioned at the beginning of this question, is that it's very, very rare that nothing needs to be changed in an account for months, and usually the structure as well needs to be adjusted quarterly, bi-monthly, because as the account is growing, you need a different structure after the first 6 months than you had when you started the Google Ads account.
Yeah, thank you. So, quick question, because you mentioned some clients have campaigns running. So, my question is along the lines of, you have those campaigns, like you mentioned that Google learns and gathers data and understand. So, how does those campaigns that just come in randomly, like Mother's Day and all those, how does it then impact those learning? Because those campaigns don't happen often. So, like Father's Day, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, Black Friday, Christmas, do you need to set up a different campaign for that? Or how do you normally work with clients specifically for those festive and those one-off campaigns that run through the year? How does that then not affect the regular running of Google Ads?
Well, so there are different ways to handle sudden changes in conversion and such. So luckily, so there are multiple ways. One way is to have a different set of ads, and you just flip the ads to the promotional ones instead of the regular ones. This is what we used to do, and then Google came up with another alternative when you have just add some headlines, apply to your account, and Google will use it for your every ad copies. This is what we favor now, so you don't have to change all the ads. If you have 700 different ads, you don't need to change one line in every ad. You just use this tool and create a new headline, and Google will use it within the time period you set, and then obviously won't use it again. So this is how you can handle. And also there is another layer, because how would you handle, so if your account is running on an automated bidding strategy, how would you handle that? Well, today the target was 5 ROAS and it just jumps to 9, 7 ROAS for 2-3 days and then drops back. So there is a tool within Google called seasonality adjustments. So you can adjust the budget, you can adjust the campaign's target as well. So this is the way you tell Google, yeah, I'm expecting more traffic. You can bid a bit more aggressively during this period, but this is not kind of like the norm. Because if you're not doing it through the bid adjustment, if you just change the target of the campaign on Monday and change it back, for example, on Friday because the promotion ended, that's really, really bad for your campaigns, because you just confuses Google with these two large changes. So this is a really, really bad practice. The best is to use the seasonality adjustments within your account to tell Google, yeah, this period is different than the other, but this is not the norm, so expect everything goes back to normal after this period.
Nice. Thank you very much for clarifying that. So we all know we have some competitors that are naughty. They just come and start bidding on your brand term. You see sometimes people then react and then bid on the competitor's terms back. And sometimes the competitor will then stop bidding. And it's just like a back and forth cat and mouse game. But in your opinion, is bidding on competitor keywords and competitors' brand term, is bidding on competitors' brand term a waste of Google Ads budget?
Great question. It's a bit of a double-edged sword, because yeah, if you start doing it, you can expect from the others doing it. Also, I've seen in many cases then the other party just didn't even know they are bidding on the brand terms. So sometimes this was solved within just like, hey, I see you are bidding on your brand terms. Probably you shouldn't. Okay, I won't. So we have cases when this kind of like stops this practice because they didn't even know they are targeting the other brand. I recommend everyone to run a branded campaign for your own brand terms. The level of coverage is, I think, where you need to be really, really cautious. Because just recently, I'm working with a company. They employed someone else to actually start managing some campaigns within the account. And the brand terms, so they paid for their own brand terms $7 to $11 a click, and the other party started to make changes. They implemented an automated bidding strategy on this account on the branded campaign, and within a few days the average CPC went to like $30-40 per click,
For their own
and the
person.
highest yeah, for their own brand term. And actually, the highest I've seen was $340. Just one click for your own brand term because of bad settings in the account. So yeah, there are ways to avoid it, and I wouldn't recommend a lot of automated bidding strategies for the brand campaigns. So for a brand campaign, the recommended bidding strategy are either manual CPC, so you can control, either target CPA with a portfolio bidding strategy where you can limit the CPC price. So you will tell Google, okay, my goal is $10, for example, cost per acquisition for my brand terms, but please don't more than $5 because that doesn't make a sense to pay more than $5. And the other is search impression share, target search impression share. These three strategies which won't make your CPC price just skyrocket. You need to test those for your brand campaigns. I think in terms of how much or what you should cover, I would highly recommend everyone to cover at least 10 to 20% search impression share for the brand campaign, because this is where you can control the messaging, the landing page. So I think it's good to experiment that, and don't shoot for like 95% search impression share for your brand campaign, because that's where these crazy, definitely unaffordable, definitely way over but it clicks are coming from.
Cool. Last question. Business is getting the impression, not getting the impression, if they see and notice that they're wasting Google Ads budget and they came to you like, oh no, just give us 3 tips that we should do or follow to reduce Google Ads budget waste. What are the 3 things you would just give to them? Obviously, they need to hire you, because if they don't, they're going to still waste their money. But what are those 3 important tips or KPIs that you would give to them that do this to help them reduce Google Ads budget waste?
Yeah, so first, and I think this is, I would say, the most important. Well, the Google Ads is for, making you money, making profit for you, generating new customers for your business. So we need to look the Google Ads this way. Whatever settings in the Google Ads, if it's making money for you, at least that's a good starting point. Because I've seen so many times that there is a working Google Ads account and an agency or a new freelancer comes in and say, hey, well, this structure is bad because it should be like this, and this campaign is wasting money. And they just blow up the whole account, create a nice structure, actually a better structure in terms of structure, a nicer structure, a more mature structure, but because they changed everything. Google is just lost tracking. Google's just a bit confused, and it takes 2-3 months till the account recovers. So even if it seems that there are some wastage in the in positive making money for you, just start with small incremental changes, see if it really moves the account in a way you want to, and then make the next change and the next change, instead of just, yeah, well, the account is making money, but the new people doesn't like the account, so I just let him to blow up the whole account and start from scratch, because this is guaranteed the best possible way to carry on.
So what Erno is saying here is avoid politics. Just because you hire a new agency or just because you're starting as a new performance marketing director or CMO, you don't have to just go and rip off everything and just change it. As he said, you can look at an account and the structure is not looking great, but if it's delivering profits and it's delivering conversion, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So that's what Erno is saying. So thank you very much. If you're looking to reduce Google Ads budget waste, reach out to Erno. I'll leave his contacts in the show notes, or you can just look at his name in the screen on the screen and just Google him. You can find him on LinkedIn. You can find him. Just put his name into Google search. You find him. Reach out to him, and yeah, we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye everyone.
Stop. It's not stopped.